Hi everybody and welcome back again, and another live video I'm doing today for another question that's come into my inbox about doing these office installs. So this is basically, the guy's emailed me, and I've got to refer to his email just here, so don't I'm not ignoring you. 15 users. They're using a hosting company to do their CRM product and paying a fortune for it per month. Wow. When I looked at that, at a shocking price. So they're paying, roughly running their CRM product, which entails using a SQL server. They're paying a hosting company about £400 per month, roughly £400 a month. That's 4,800 a year. Wow, that's a lot of money. I used to do hosting. I used to be the hosting company that offer these sort of things. I know exactly. Good money earner. It is. I made a fortune in hosting, hosting SQL, hosting remote desktop solutions, web hosting. I did all that basically. I held Disney servers for the UK for about 6 years. They hosted with me. I used to have a company called Virtual Apps, and yeah, it was a good 6 years of Disney. Learnt a lot on the hosting side. Put me in the deep end because when I was originally hosting, I was actually only in the back of an office, and then I went to a hosting company, my first data center, and again that was just literally a back of an office space. They just supplemented, brought in a lease line, and I paid for a bit of rack space basically. Then when Disney come on board, I had to then move it into a proper data center in London. So that was I ended up renting a whole rack of servers, and then basically it built up from there onwards, and sort of like 10 years later, massive, I was making loads per month, so I know exactly where this is coming from. So it's about 4,800 a year for the CRM product, and also they've got some web apps. So I assume the web apps is also part of the Exchange hosting as well, and they pay around about the same cost. So they've got about 9,600 a year, and he wants to make a saving on this. So 15 users in the office. They want to bring that back to the office. So again, to be honest, if you want to host in the cloud, as they call it, because everything's cloud, everything these days. So this sort of scenario would be ideal if all your 15 users were spread around the world. Then that's great. That's worth paying the cost for it, because you've got the ability to move around. Don't have to be in a specific office. But if you're all in the same office and all work for the same office, then you don't need to pay these costs. There's no point actually hosting it out. There's other things that people consider and say, and I'll probably get bitten by this, to sort of say, well, it's best to host it out because you got the backup, you got the recovery, you got all the infrastructure, power loss, ain't going to be. It's in a data center. Yeah, fine, but you can still actually work from an office and still have no power loss, and still achieve that every year. But you save yourself 9,600 a year. So in theory, your first cost of 4,800, you can pay for a decent server, a real decent server that where you can virtualize it all. I mean, I virtualized everything, and it works really well. And I'm still virtualizing now. Hi, sorry about that. Hopefully we're reconnected. A bit of an issue on my internet here. This is really strange. It's working earlier. So hopefully, let me see if we're on the live stream now. That reconnected. So yeah, I think we're back online actually. So Lewis, hi Lewis. I think we're all back online. So yeah, hopefully. Sorry about that. Yeah. So there's lots of ways of doing this, and I mean, my own opinion would be I'm going to show you my bit of kit here. That will actually work with most scenarios anyway. 15 users, not very much. I would definitely virtualize it. The virtualization works really well. So in the outline costs, I mean, most of this money, the 9,600, probably pay that in probably licensing costs or on hardware costs. But then at least next year you haven't got that, or the year after. So year one you'll have those costs. Year two, no cost. Year three, no cost. Year four, no cost. You won't have any of those rentals. So long term, you're safe. The first year you won't save anything. Second year you will save that money every single year. So it depends on the spec of the machine you build, okay, and also it depends on what license you already currently have. So if it's all completely scratch, then obviously then there's obviously going to be license issues to purchase and buy, and that's when costs can go up, because when you start adding Microsoft licenses. So I'm going to keep things really simple, because that's what this is all about. This channel is all about keeping things really nice and simple. If you are watching, please comment, because I've got my comments open this side here so I can see the comments. So keep things very simple. That's what I'm all about. Sorry if my connection keeps dropping. I have to get that sorted out. Even though my Wi-Fi box is sitting there, so it should have no problems being poor connections. It could be my internet at home. So anyway, well, let's have a look what I've got, and I'll give you a rundown of cost, what this cost to build roughly. And if you want to know a full cost and you want me to instigate the pricing, getting it done, and if you even want me to do the build, we can sort something out. Me doing it as a consultancy thing for you, building this for you and showing how to run it. I'm already doing this one for a company in California. They built a similar same one we've got here, and yeah, it's got still same problem. Like he's built 2 of these boxes, and we're running Unraid on it on both boxes, and that way you can synchronize between both. And this is perfect. Virtualization. This is the baby to have basically. So let's have a look. I'll show you around my kit. So hopefully I can rotate my screen round. So bear with us. Okay, take you for the long journey here. So there's my machine here. So it's just basically, as you can see, the make of the case. It's I think Corsair. I can't actually pronounce it. So I bought a nice case. It's got 2 chambers. So I've got one chamber this side for all the hard drives to go in. And I had to stick additional fans in the back to keep the hard drives nice and cool, because the hard drives do run hot. And then this side of the case is obviously the main motherboard, which I'll show you in 2 secs what it's all about. So I've got some LED lighting in there to brighten it all up a bit. So we've got the AMD chip here, 8 cores, 8 threads. So that's perfect for virtualization, and it's designed for virtualization. I've got a whole bank of 32 gig of DDR RAM in there, so DDR3. But you can buy a more upgraded motherboard. Depends how much you spend on the motherboard, where you can go DDR4 and really take seriously going out to 64. So this one total case will actually take 32 gig, which is ample for the virtualization that I'm doing here currently myself. We got a decent graphics card here. The only way I bought a decent graphics card is I'm going to get a second additional graphics card on the bottom there. So that one will then eventually will be the management screen for this box. And in this one, I'm going to actually run a virtualization PC, which will give me extra mouse and keyboard to operate. So in theory, I'll be getting a server environment plus a PC out of it. More about that later anyway. So it's got nice cooling fans here that blows right across the case. Exhausts outside here, so it's got a nice constant flow. I am going to upgrade the CPU fan to something a bit more robust, because I had one that had double fans either side that will blow upwards and out. Because you've got ventilations at the top here, ventilators down the bottom here. This case is designed for water cooling, but I've gone the old-fashioned way and decided I just want fan base at the moment. Yeah, so the other side I've got, I can't turn this around because it's actually live on, but behind, in the top, hidden behind there, we've got drives. We've got 2 SSD drives, and we also have 3 terabyte drives. Give me sort of, and eventually we're going to put another 3 in there. So in this system will be 15 terabytes. So it's a really nice case. It's and on the back of here we've got tons and tons of ports. So at the moment I've installed 1 onboard network card, 2 external network cards. Give me a nice 3 gig backbone. So nice fast access for sharing and saving files and stuff. This memory stick key here runs. There you go. Runs the actual OS for the machine itself. So we have complete access to all the hardware and the hard drives in this itself. And what I've done, what I've done, this one runs Unraid, so we can build VM virtualization inside. So we can be running SQL Server, we can be running a Microsoft Exchange server. Because this is also built as a NAS box, the NAS is already on the network, so you already got you already got your file share in there. And you can create, again, it doesn't have to deal with Active Directory usernames and stuff. If you're running a Microsoft Exchange, that you obviously need AD installed. Then if you match the passwords on the NAS box against the user accounts, they then have access to the NAS for your file sharing. You can run plugins inside this machine on Unraid that will allow you to sync data off here directly onto like a box here. So I've got 6 terabytes of storage. I'm roughly using 3 terabytes for my videos, and I've got a VM running a sync software that transmits all this data live to that box there. And then again, I can then use a sync software built onto that box, can sync that off site if you wanted to. So this is what I would sort of recommend For 15 users, 20 users, 30 users plus, I will probably go, if you're going to be running SQL Server, because SQL Server can take a lot of RAM up, basically, and a lot of power to run. Even if you run the most simplest database. I mean, I've got a client I've been dealing with last couple of days that running SQL Server on virtualize, full virtualization, running on an old Dell PowerEdge server, and they've had that over 6 years. Every now and again, with SQL, it generates and eats a lot of RAM up, and every now and again you do reboots and it clears it out nicely. It's just one of those things SQL does. You could probably run a back script to shut down the services at night and restart again for the morning, and that'll keep it from hogging all the RAM. But runs brilliantly in virtualization. They're running literally 20 users using Goldmine off of it, so it's not doing intensive stuff, but that's the nature of SQL. But it'll work perfectly with this scenario here. So the only cost you've got in place, the only cost you've got for this box here is just the actual Unraid software. For depends how many devices you have in there, which is how many disks you have. So you could probably pay up to £80 for a full unlimited device license for this. So it's a one-off fee. Done, sorted. Download a trial version of that for 29 days. And this is what I'm actually trialing at the moment, Unraid on here, which is really nice. Unraid's great. I'm doing lots of videos currently coming out on YouTube very soon, all about the Unraid and what goes on inside Unraid. It's a very powerful product, and I think it's a really good product actually. There's quite a top YouTubers actually use it and use it for all virtualization. You can virtualization 2, 3, 4 or 5 workstations on there, having dedicated graphics card to each workstation, running gaming off of it. And this is how really good it is. It depends on what motherboard, RAM and CPU you have in here, how powerful it can actually be for you. So if you want to keep costs low, this build I brought here, which is 32 gig RAM, 8 core AMD chip inside, and drives about £1,000 I paid for this. So I already saved you quite a lot of costs on your first year. Now licensing up, I think probably another couple of grand will get all your licenses from Microsoft. Then you're done. So in theory, I've half the cost for the first year. So this is something you go for. This is probably the cheapest option to go for. I've looked at PowerEdge servers, and mind you, they can go up to like 3,000 or 4,000. That's even before you put any licenses on it or any software on it and stuff. It can be really expensive. This runs 2 SSD drives, which runs all the VM side. So you've got super fast VMs running off SSD drives. And the other hard drives, which run NAS, is normal C-RATA drives. So that's where you can keep all your data secure on there and stuff. So, so hopefully that answers your question. So if you want me to give you a complete price and quote or a spec that you could go for, so you can start looking at it, we can actually do that. If you need any sort of, I think you're in the UK because you quoted in pounds, give me a shout, leave a mobile number, maybe we can have a chat as well. So just, I mean, there's different scenarios depending on what you want running. So let me know more about your virtualization apps, because you talked about the CRM hosting, which is quite straightforward, but you said about web apps, about the same monthly price. Does the web apps include the Exchange hosting? Because if it does, then I can understand why the price of it is what it is. It's expensive, but you can do that with the new Exchange 2016. It's all web based. It's very easy to manage as well, and runs with Outlook and stuff. So a couple of questions I have for you. So would be obviously you've got 15 users in house. Do they all have their own PCs? Do you have any current server on site at the moment? And what type of infrastructure do you have, like network switches? What's your broadband speed? What broadband do you have? Things like that, that can give me a bit more of an in-depth what you need for this build. So you got a £9,600 bill per year. So the first year on this, what we're going to do, we'll see if we can halve that cost. So see if we can get something built for less than 5,000, including all the licenses and everything else. So if you want my help, interested, give me a shout. You've got my email address. Get in touch, and hopefully this will answer quite a lot of your questions. And hopefully there'll be a few more questions after it. So anybody out there needs help just like this, again, get in contact with me. Leave a comment below on this video. If you know my email address, just send me an email. Happy to help out. Happy to help anybody out at the end of the day. That's what my channel is all about. Building infrastructures that doesn't cost the earth, and you don't need a full-fledged Dell server to run your environment. I've been there. I've built Dell servers for customers. I know exactly what the cost is. I had hosting. All my servers I had were originally all Dell servers, all Dell PowerEdges, PowerEdge R210s, 220s, 310s if I can remember them, 310, 320s, and I had some nice 10U ones as well. I can't remember, they were PowerEdge something, 2004, and I can't remember the spec they were, but they were quite high spec. I had loads of them, and they can be very much power hungry, as well as taking a lot of rack space up as well. So that's why when I started doing this IT channel, I'm now experimenting with products like this, seeing what else is out there to tell you guys a cheaper way of actually running an IT infrastructure in a small office. It doesn't have to be, and these could probably easily run more than 15, 20 users, could probably go up to about 100 users or more, because these chips are getting so fast, the RAM's getting more on board. I mean, you can, if a decent motherboard in this machine here, I can probably achieve 64 gig of RAM on this, running that as a VM and NAS server all at the same time. You got everything in one, you know. So you don't, because the old days we used to run SQL on its own server, Exchange on its own server. We used to run FarmPrint on its own server, then have a special NAS box for the additional storage for users on another box. So you had lots of boxes. Like these days, because technology is going rapidly coming forward, new products like this are coming out, allowing you to run it all on one bit of kit, saving you a fortune, and it's definitely saving hosting costs as well. So yeah, so I hope this is okay. I'm not going to waffle anymore. I'll leave it to it now. So hopefully the down and up of the streaming is not too bad. Everything's all put together in the video. Bit of noise, since I think I'm going to start upgrading some of my wireless kit here. I've already bought the stuff. I haven't installed it yet. So thanks for guys watching. I didn't see any comments on the videos that you guys made, but again, I'll pick that a bit later anyway. So thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.